जयपुर वाया कोटा।
कृपया ध्यान आपको अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
Lucknow Junction.
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವ ರೈಲು
चेन्नई बेलूर तिरुचिरापल्ली Hyderabad Superfast Express পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন। कृपया ध्यान दियो।
Well, as they say, class is permanent, and Klassen has put on a master class to get Hyderabad to 186. Welcome back to Cricbuzz Live. I'm Saiyami Kher. I have Lisa Sthalekar and Simon with me. First and foremost, the most important thing to do is applaud for Lisa. Well done, Lisa.
Thanks, guys. Really, guys are getting into it now, aren't they?
Fully. They're really happy for
Yeah.
you.
GK started this. GK started the audience. Yeah. So I feel it's only fair
Yes.
that when GK started it, they have to do it for everybody.
Yeah.
That's right. Well done, Lisa.
Well done,
Thanks,
Lisa. How
guys.
does that feel? Victory.
Oh, it's just standard, really.
Oh.
I love it. I love
another
the
humble
humility.
Australian.
I love the humility.
Mate, I was on fire yesterday, by the way.
Yeah, she was. She
Yeah.
was.
Very well
Really
done. Very
was.
well done.
Well, Klassen was on fire too. Let's have a look at the batting card.
And you're classy too for bringing how many classes.
Yeah, it's so predictable. We have to plug it in, right? Well, like Simon and I spoke about, Abhishek Sharma and Rahul Tripathi didn't really fire. The gamble didn't work. But then there was Klassen, there was Harry Brook. Markram didn't really do much, 18 of 20, but that 104 of 51. What a beautiful knock, Simon.
46 balls those first three faced. 46 of the deliveries the top three faced. Klassen, yeah, look, so much said about it. Just 7 dot balls. And one of them was the one that got him out. 7 dot balls only in that whole innings. So that means not only, no wonder he was cooked at the end. He was sweating away so profusely. It was dripping off him, as Kevin Peterson mentioned. 203 strike rate, superb. He's got them to a target. Well, I think with that ball holding in the surface, and we talked about prior to the game starting, his ability to play spin. And that was on show today. He just read the spinners. He picks length beautifully, and he just dispatches any little bit of short pitch bowling from the spinners. He just dispatches it so well.
I was going to say that. That was the most evident thing, that he got into a powerful position. A little bit of a forward press, but then he rocks back. And it's almost that split stance where that strong power base that he can just pick it up. And he absolutely pulverised anything. And you're right, it wasn't that short. And then a couple of times when they went, okay, well, the into the pitch isn't working, let me go a bit fuller. Then at the back end of his innings, then he pumped straight down the ground. It's really clever batting. And I'm really happy for him as well. I mean, we've seen this IPL, so many different players come to the fold. And this is, 7 different individuals have scored 100. So this IPL, so that's a record. And, it's great to see so many different players having a huge impact.
Yeah, a little more on Klassen actually. As you all know, I always bring up Sachin Tendulkar. It just happens. But the master has tweeted and he said that he's kept his footwork very simple and uncomplicated, and that's been the best thing about Klassen. So a tip or lesson for many batsmen to look at his footwork.
Well, I think what Lisa just mentioned, actually, the fact that he gets a little forward press and he can go from there back and go back quickly, or he can get further forward. But it's because he just reads length. Now, your footwork can be good, but if you don't pick the length up quickly, you can find yourself in the wrong position. I think that's the one thing he did so well. You look how quickly he pushes onto the back foot and hits leg side, or even the first ball. Just have a look. Go back and find a replay of the first ball he faced where it was slightly short and he's just pushed off the back foot, hit it through, punched it through extra cover. So balance, who am I to say anything different to what Sachin said in a tweet, although I did get him out once. But, that's the key. Look, it's his footwork is superb. And as I also said, the fact that he reads the spinners, whether it's the leg spin or the wrist spin, being a keeper.
And the footwork, like you were saying, and being able to read and the picking up the length is the little cues that he picks up straight away. So the best players, and Sachin was one of them as well, you actually get a clue even before the ball has released. So if it's early, it's going to be a bit fuller. Later, it's going to be a little bit shorter. So just that split microsecond gives batters clues. The best players do it really well, and the average players struggle to do that. But he's class in that.
We've seen quite a few games this year, haven't we? I'm sort of trying to think back to the other games that I remember now where one player's kind of dominated, the rest have struggled a bit on tough surfaces. Shika's got 99 springs to mind, now you mention it. But there's been a few games where one player has dominated a lot, got a big score, and everyone else has really struggled. And I just wonder, looking at the surface now, whether it might not be quite as easy as we thought. And I mentioned in the com box, I'm not going to trust the groundsman again. So, done.
Yeah, Simon's not happy. He said this in the com box twice and now again. I'm going to wait in the green room to discuss this forward trigger movement you spoke about.
Okay.
Because, well, my producer will shout at me if I get into any technicalities because we don't have too much time on the mid-match show. We'll have a look at the bowling card. And they tried the spinners. As soon as Harry Brook came on, they tried the spinners. And Shahbaz unfortunately went for 19 runs because Klaasen was, well, hammering him around the place. Siraj bowled really well, very, well, frugal with his runs, so 17 runs there. Karan Sharma, well, lot of runs.
Yeah, tough day for Karan. I mean, Bracewell only 2 overs. I guess because the 2 right-handers were in towards the back end, that's the reason he didn't bowl again. But maybe he deserved one more. Siraj was just brilliant at the up front. And that last over in particular.
Yeah.
What did that last over go for?
It went for 4
runs
and a wicket.
4.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the wicket of Phillips off the last ball.
So he bowls the first, goes for 2, bowls the last, goes for 4. And then I think the next one was 4 again. And then the fourth one was 8.
7 or an 8.
Yeah. So, I mean, and we spoke about it, didn't we, at the start, that he doesn't mind where he bowls. He's like...
Yeah. But that's the one area, I think, of improvement as well. We talked about the swing up front, but also his quality death bowling. I think he's actually been far better this year at the back end of the innings. And you know, you need to see that from your key Indian players as well. I mean, they need to dominate the tournament. They need to, you know, put in performances that are, I guess, key for them and show everyone that that's why they're an Indian player. That's why he's part of the Indian setup time and time again, because he can do that job. Shami does it in this tournament, you know, consistently. So Siraj is just starting to do it more consistently now, and I think that's a really good sign.
You know, Simon, you said that you won't trust the groundsman again because the pitch was playing a little, like not what we thought it would be. Markram really struggled, and even our Indian top openers struggled. So what do you think we can expect from RCB, considering we know what their top order is, we know how hard they go at the ball?
Yeah, I agree with you in the sense that, you know, one player has dominated, the rest have struggled, but we're talking about a side who are 10th, right? So that's the other factor to keep in mind, that you've got players that are doubting themselves. They're not as confident. They're not quite sure. Whereas Klaasen has been sure about exactly what he's been doing all the way through the tournament, and his runs show that. And today he put the icing on the cake. So I actually think I'll be interested to see. I think RCB, given where they are in the ladder and how certain players are playing, I reckon they'll play like Klaasen, because I think they'll be a lot clearer in their head to know what they want to do, how to execute it as well. Whereas Hyderabad have struggled, and their batting has really struggled. So that's probably the only difference, I'd say.
You know, we've spoken about Klaasen versus spin. There's somebody else in the Bangalore team who's been phenomenal against spin. 600 plus runs so far in the season. He's just had the best season ever. Faf coming up and taking on, well, Mayank Markandeya and the other spinners in Hyderabad. Yeah,
and look, these numbers are quite phenomenal since that. You look at 17 to 21, 1,004 runs in 75 innings. He's almost got 1,000. This is just against spin in 60 innings, averaging 44 and change, striking at 134. So I won't say he struggled against spin, but he wasn't as effective against spin between 17 and 21. Now, part of that, and I will say part of that, is because half of his games, or some of his games in that time, were played at Chennai, which favoured spin a little bit more as well. So you've got to look into those numbers a little bit. But, you know, the fact that he's not on that leading, that top 5 runs, 4 hitters, but he is leading the 6 hitters, tells me he's taking the spinners on and doing a great job of it. He's just got a, you know, there's an air of such confidence about Faf's game at the moment. And when you're not playing international cricket, you know, what we have seen in the past is players have struggled at this level because they don't have that international competition, but he's a supreme athlete still, and I think that's one of the keys for Faf, and he'll still be training the house down with the kids that are 19, 20, 21. So that's not an issue for him.
Yeah.
It just comes to the older you get and the less international cricket you play, the less exposure you have to quick bowling. That's the first thing that goes.
Yeah.
So he's now sort of looked at it and said, okay, so if I'm going to lose it a little bit against the quicks, which I'm not saying he has, I really need to dominate against the spin. So when I get a chance against it, that's what I'm going to try and do. And I think that's one of the things he's really tried to turn around.
And then the other thing is, because he's only focusing on one format. So he doesn't need to work on leaving the ball or defending or working on certain things. You can actually really be specific in your training. Even from a physical point of view, you can start to do more power stuff in the gym to be able to execute, and, you know, his six hitting ability has certainly increased.
You speak about the power in the gym. He's spoken about this and he said he's worked on his power hitting, and we kind of briefly chatted about it, where he said that lots of batsmen get their power from their hips, so the golfer swing really helps them. Or if you are into a little bit of boxing in your training, he said that helps with your back lift. So he said that's something he's been focusing on ever since he's not playing other formats. I find this really, really fascinating when you kind of train with other sports.
Well, did you see also there was a clip of Virat mimicking his batting? Yeah, Faf. He was, and the back lift was up there. So if you actually look at that vision, Virat is a lot lower than Faf. Like, he comes down naturally lower. And I've heard a number of players talk about, especially at this level, IPL, the higher the bat is, and it's kind of moving as well, so it's not dead still, so you're not starting, you know, a heavy vehicle and then trying to get it going. You keep it moving, and from there, all you have to do is meet the ball.
Sean Pollock pointed out earlier in the tournament about Andre Russell and where he was last year with the bat up in the air, and then this year at the start, it was down on the ground, and then he started to pick it up later in the season and started to find a bit more of that rhythm. We had a great piece yesterday on the TV about Liam Livingstone, his backswing.
Oh yeah, it's lovely that the circle you drew around.
Absolutely. So the bat goes right up, then it comes down in its little trigger movement and then back up, and he's into that real power position. And I think in T20 cricket that you'll find that with most of the top players, they're in a real power position with their wrists a little bit cocked and ready to go. And I mean, it's not absolute science, doesn't have to be done for everybody, but most of the real good power hitters have that very good position.
Well, I can go on listening to this because I love it, but we have to have a look at who the impact subs are, who's going to come in, there is DK in that impact sub list for Bangalore, and of course Mayank Markanday is somebody who we should see coming in, or do you think Natarajan will come in?
I think the way the surface is played, have they got enough spin, have they got enough seam bowling to bring Markanday in? I think Markanday, the way the surface is played, although we did see Karan Sharma go for runs, Markanday is bowling. He's bowling so much better at the moment, isn't he? I mean, Natarajan would get the ball to hold a bit like Harshal, but I don't know. Whichever way they go.
I think they should actually just probably play out a few overs.
Yeah, absolutely. Hold it off a little bit.
See,
Natarajan doesn't bowl up front.
Correct,
anyway.
So just see how things are going, what the pitch is doing, who's out, who's still in, who's still to come, and then start to maybe money bowl it on the sidelines and get the player in.
Left-handers in that RCB lineup. Bracewell. I'm just trying to think in the top six. You really haven't got a lot of left-handers outside of Michael Bracewell in that top six. So maybe Lomraw. Sorry, apologies.
That's it.
Shabazz lefty.
Oh, now
that's a good question. I get the Shabazzes mixed up actually myself.
Yes, he's left hand.
Lomraw, Shabazz, and Bracewell. So maybe that means Markanday is going to have to bowl some wrong-ins through the middle order. But just as Lisa said, I think play a few overs out, just see how it goes up front. If they knock a couple over, then maybe that Markanday can come into play. And
will RCB need DK, or, well, they'll be done, the top order should chase this down?
Again, they don't need to do it straight away, do they? I think they should be thinking, let's really, the last game we played, we made a strong statement to the rest of the competition. Let's send another strong message to know that everyone, we're coming. We're coming for the.
If they lose a couple early, Kedar Jadhav maybe comes into play. If they lose a couple of wickets in the power play, just to steady the ship a little bit. If they get to a position where, they're maybe needing 55, 60 off the last 5, 6, then DK's right in the game. So they too can sort of bide their time, just hold it back a little bit.
All right then, winners to go first. Lisa, your prediction at the
63.
Wow.
Really thought through this. You didn't even look at your little notes.
Yeah, they've been powerful in the power play. Look, I think that Hyderabad struggled, didn't they, in the power play?
They struggled, yes.
They'll come at Kohli with a little bit of spin inside the power play. So I'll go quite low on that, 40, 45, 46. 46.
Oh, perfect. She's like,
46.
Oh, the 50s are ready for me to take.
All right then. Well, I just was not given any choice, you see. Yeah. Well, they have got Natarajan in.
Okay,
That's
the end of that argument.
Yeah. So no spinners then. So Natarajan is in 63.
Yeah.
46.
I really have no choice.
You have. You could go 70, you go 30.
It's not going to be 30, it's not going to be 70. Well, I've been given advice from my wise producer to go by saying 55 is what she's told me to say. So this is not my prediction. If I win, it's my producer's prediction.
Wow.
We give it to her. So I'm just keeping myself safe. We'll wait and watch because we have to do something very important, which is eat some chocolate cake that I've got everyone. So we'll be going and doing that. If you all haven't had your dinner, please have your dinner and join us at the 10 over point at the Cricbuzz Combox.
Jaipur via Kota.
कृपया ध्यान आपको अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
Lucknow Junction.
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವರೈ
चेन्नई बेंगलुरु तिरुचिरापल्ली Hyderabad Superfast Express পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন कृपया ध्यान दें